Hi there, it's Jen from modernmedicinelady.com and the Empathic Woman System, and the word of the day is emergency. And I choose this word because I have a saying that I kind of love, which is, your poor planning does not constitute my emergency. And unfortunately, it's a saying that I have used more than I care to. But I find that as a highly sensitive, empathic woman, that there are a number of times when I have encountered people who are in a crisis, who are in a difficult situation, who are in a position where they are needing help and they're looking for a bailout. And while, as I've said before, if you're talking about a child like running into the middle of the road and there's a truck barreling down and you need to run and get them out of harm's way, that's one thing. But when we're talking about adults with free will who make stupid choices and then want somebody else to take care of them or get them out of that situation, that's when this particular saying is applicable. And I think it's really hard to not get into those feelings of responsibility and those feelings of wanting to make it better, of wanting to bail somebody out, of wanting to save somebody from the consequences of their choices. And yet I know from my own personal experience that I have learned my lessons most of the time through the consequences of my actions. I have learned what works and what doesn't work, not because somebody came along and bailed me out, but because somebody didn't come along and bail me out, and I got to deal with what happens when I make a choice that's not a bright choice. So I really think that when it comes to the awareness of other people's sense of urgency, the awareness of somebody else's emergency, that in particular when it is a situation where it is literally their poor planning, or they're not thinking clearly, or they're not doing the research, or they're not basically taking the time to figure something out, or in many cases, I can't tell you the number of times that I've had somebody call me at the last minute and say, "Can you squeeze me in now?" And it's like, no, I can't. Because just because you didn't think about planning ahead doesn't mean that the rest of the world hasn't been planning. So I guess my question to you right now is, where in your life right now are you running into emergencies that are really not your responsibility, and where you may be feeling a sense of responsibility, you may be feeling a sense of guilt, you may be feeling a part of you that just wants to bail somebody out, when it really is not your job. And I guess my invitation to you is to really hold to that space of remembering the number of times when you benefited from learning from the consequences of your choices. And I definitely offer you the saying, your poor planning does not constitute my emergency, because that has been a lifesaver for me a number of times, because I have often found that when somebody does not plan well, they tend to get quite urgent and act like it's something really, there's a sort of drama that goes along with it. And I just really have to remember and remind myself that it's not my problem, it's not my fault, and it's not my responsibility to fix something because somebody wasn't thinking things through in the first place. So if you can resonate with this, if you can relate to it, if you can think of an emergency that is not your problem, then I invite you to adopt this phrase.